Hey guys, what's up? So for this video, this video is gonna be about like, well, how do I put it? It would be just about me. It's kind of like a rant, but I'll be trying to like just kind of explain and how stress, work-related stress is very important and how we really should look into that as people and as co-workers and stuff like that, as a staff member wherever you work. You really should just consider your mental health, especially during these times of COVID, for healthcare workers especially. I mean, everybody's affected, but I can only speak for healthcare in particular because that's where I work. And how hard this stuff can be, because the stress that you deal with at work, you're not really allowed to let it out at work, especially with your coworkers and your employees and the people you work with, your patients, your residents, staff, your supervisor. These are people that you can't mess with anybody at work, period. Like, of course we all know that there's a certain mask, or there's a certain like front that you have to put on when you go to work, because work is just a place for you to, whatever it may be, whether it's something you love to do, which is good, or it's just a place for you to go in and out to make your living. But whatever the case, we all go through stress no matter what. It could be work related, or just stuff at home. I mean, humanity is flawed, and this is just part of the things that we deal with as humans. These issues that we have as far as just our work and all these human things. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to talk about how mental health and dealing with stress is very important, and it's something that you really have to look into, because this could really drive somebody crazy, especially if you're not mentally stable or you're burnt out. And I'm not here to like give medical advice or anything like that. You should seek professional help, and always find someone to talk to, professional help to speak with, with your problems, as far as a doctor or someone professionally to speak with. But this video is just in particular just to share my experiences with work and stress, and how important your mental well-being is, because the stress that you have at work, like I said, you might be able to ignore it oftentimes, where you can just brush things off and be like, okay, I'm gonna let that go. That person said something to me that annoyed me. Work is not going well, which it always won't. I mean, it won't always be like that. Every day will be good. But all I'm saying is, like, work-related stress, like your like your supervisor's getting on your nerves and stuff like that. You cannot talk back to your boss, to your supervisor or your boss. And we all know this. And it doesn't have to be your boss. It could be your coworker and anybody you work with. Like, it's just not good to have conflict with people. But what I'm saying is, this kind of goes beyond just the workplace, but in general, like life in general, this human experience of our emotions and dealing with these things. It's again, like I said, I feel like I'm rambling and I'm repeating, but mental health is important, because when you are suppressing your emotions and you're holding things in and you're not letting these things out the proper way, and you just brush it off, and you think you're just letting it go by brushing it off, air quotes, right? You're not really releasing that energy or those problems or those issues. You're just kind of suppressing it, and you think that you got away with it because it kind of went away after a while. But from my experience, like I said, work is just an example. So at work, you think that you're okay because you got into an argument with so and so, or your boss or your supervisor, and you got upset, and in the moment you got very angry or upset on the inside, so you kind of suppressed it and you just let it go, and then before you know it, you got over it, or you thought you got over it, but you really didn't get over it, because the truth is, when you suppress your emotions and your stress, they later on do manifest throughout other outlets of your life, whether it's after work, when you're out on your own, when you're with friends, when you're out living your own life, when you're when you're off work, right? Because work is an example. So the stress at work, you get into an argument, you let it go, or you thought you let it go, but you really didn't let it go because those stressful things that you've dealt with is still inside of you, and it's just going to be manifesting in other ways outside of work later on, maybe hours later, a day later, weeks later. This emotional suppression of negative energy goes deep. Like, it goes deeper than how a lot of us think. Like, these, you need to really get to the root of your problems. Like, what a lot of spiritual people in the spiritual community call the shadow work. Like, you really got to get within and look within. You got to really look deep down and see where these issues are underlying in order to really solve the problem. So, when you just suppress things and you just let them go, and the whole saying with, like, it goes through one ear and out the other, it's not that easy and it's not that simple. And that kind of attitude isn't really going to solve your overall issues to the roots, because stress and trauma and negative energies and negative emotions, they still rise. Like, they're still there, and they manifest and rise up later in your life. They'll find a way to surface back up. Like, you didn't really get rid of it like you thought you did. That's why looking within is really important, because that's how you resolve the issue, is by really looking at it from the root, from the very first causation or whatever. That whole shadow work thing, this whole stuff about shadow work and looking within, it's really important. Because when you suppress your stress, it actually just adds up. And you didn't really get rid of it like you thought you did. And that's exactly the point that I'm trying to make with this video, is that the issues we have, again, example, work, it's like you didn't really solve the issue like you thought you did by just ignoring what your boss told you, and you thought you're okay, you're all goody because they said something that you didn't like or whatever. You got upset, but you got over it, and you didn't really get that mad for that long, which in many ways is like a way to show that you are improving, because you're able to handle your emotions a little better, because you're not acting out immaturely. But I'm saying you're just not getting to the root of it like you may think you are. So, anyway, battery running low. I'll touch on this more later on, perhaps. So, yeah. Self-love and self-care, very important. That's what I always talk about in my videos. Self-care and self-love, your mental health, your mental well-being, all these things are important, especially during COVID and during this pandemic that we're still going through. You just got to stay strong, and that's easier said than done, right? Because sometimes the pep talk doesn't even really work. Sometimes you just need a break. You just really, really need a break, because the stress can be too much, and sometimes the pep talks aren't enough. So you just got to look within, chill out, just relax, take a step back, get yourself together, and don't even focus on being like happy right away. Just be with the moment. Just be with the moment. Accept what it is that you're dealing with, and just let it be. And things do find a way of working themselves out later on. I promise you that. You just have to be patient, and just, like I said, be in the moment, and just let things be. Just let them be. Because, you don't want to be jumping to happiness right away and trying to jump for joy and all that. Like, if you're not happy and you're feeling like crap, just let yourself be unhappy. Let yourself feel like crap. Just let the moment be, and things do better. I mean, things do improve and do get better, and they really do. And you'll know that they do, because there's a natural feeling within you that things are just naturally turning around. It's hard to explain, but a lot of things are hard to explain, especially when it comes to internal work and feelings and all that, and emotions. These are just things that you gotta feel, but let your inner guide be the one to tell you or guide you with the direction you're going. But yeah, mental health and dealing with stress the proper way is very important. So yeah, peace out, guys. Just look out for yourself, and always remember that self-love and self-care is important, and mental your mental health is included in that too. So, yeah. Peace.